I freaking love this show. It's just so awesome. We're going to dive into The Flash, Season 3, Episode 22, Infant something Street. I don't know. Whatever reason, I can never pronounce it. But Iris' Street. Spoilers ahead. This was a good episode. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my review of the second to last episode of The Flash for Season 3. This was an awesome episode. When I watched the promo and they're bringing Snart back, not that I have anything against Snart. I like Snart. I was just like, is that concept going to work? It worked. It was a good concept. They had a lot of fun with the character of Snart, but I'll get this out of the way because this is my one semi-negative with the entire episode. Otherwise, I overall really enjoyed this episode. Isn't the point of Season 3 to show that Barry Allen traveling back in time and changing anything at all whatsoever is nothing but a terribly horrible idea that has a lot of tremendous consequences that spread across the timeline and for all time? And he goes back in time and he gets Snart. Now, I guess the way it can be justified, and I think the way this season was trying to this episode was trying to justify it, was this is what inspired Snart to lay down his life at the end of the, what is that show called? Justice League? League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? Legends of Tomorrow. So I guess the way that the episode was trying to explain it is, this is what inspired Snart to lay his life down at the end of Season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow. You know, that Barry Allen, when they were stuck, you know, the door shut, the big old metal door. Barry doesn't have his powers because of the power dampeners in the Argus facility. And Barry has the power source, so he has the choice. He could let Snart rot in that room and die from Killer Shark, or he can save Snart and risk losing Iris. And he chooses to save Snart. So I think what they're trying to say is, this is the one point where, you know, Barry going back in time actually made history work the way it's supposed to work because, you know, Snart laid down his life, but I don't know. That's my one negative, though, because to me it's kind of confusing, but then it's time travel, so that always gets confusing. So that aside, I enjoyed Snart. It was awesome to bring him back into this episode. It was kind of funny that they made a great big deal about how that Argus door was, like, super powered, locked, and nobody could do it, and here in, like, what was it, 37 seconds, Snart got it, you know, broke into it. I would like to have seen that. Point is, like, even that was still okay with me, and those were all really cool things. And, you know, it's interesting because I would have thought Snart would have been a bigger part of the episode, but in terms of all the huge, impactful things that happened in the episode, Snart felt relatively small next to the big, huge plot points. But otherwise, it was cool to bring him back to the CW universe, the Arrowverse, and bring him into this episode. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the things I really liked. HR and Tracy Brand continue to be my favorite parts of, like, these last couple episodes where we introduce her and just the chemistry between her and HR. Those two are just so awesome together. The way she had all those, you know, mugs and was making all that coffee. It was awesome. Like, I don't know. I like those two characters together. I really don't have much to say about it other than they're similar enough that it's just awesome. He being her muse, and I don't know. I just thought them together was great, as it has always been, so that's great. Let's get to the real stuff now, shall we? First, where you have Cisco Vibe against Killer Frost, where that finally happens. The thing that makes me nervous about that fight, and now we're at this cliffhanger, and I need to know what happens. But when we went 7 years in the future, I think that was that episode where we see that, you know, where we did see that's where he lost his hands. But I think the flashback was that fight in the woods with Caitlin, or Killer Frost, is where he lost his hands, where his hands got frozen. And so every shot in the woods when they're fighting, I'm like, don't let him touch your hands. And so, you know, I'm excited that so far he hasn't lost his hands. But, oh my gosh, is he going to lose his hands? Probably. I mean, at this point, why do I have any reason to think any different that he won't lose his hands? But there are things that are different. Like, Laura reminded me earlier, my wife, she reminded me that in the news report, the first time Barry went to the future, there was something about Killer Frost having killed someone. And so far right now, Killer Frost hasn't killed anyone. So it's kind of fascinating. So it feels like enough has changed that we could possibly get a different outcome here, but enough has remained the same that anything's in the air for the season finale. Anything's in the air. So between Vibe and Killer Frost, that was an amazing fight in the woods. I really cannot wait till we return to that. I am seriously on pins and needles to figure out, is he gonna lose his flipping hands? I think he might. You know why I think he might? Because Iris is dead. Okay? I warned you. This was spoilers. Okay? But Iris, all this stuff that went down, and she still died. Is she dead though? Maybe they have some trick going on. I don't know. All I know is what this show first did was a great job making me nervous. Like, starting just from the very beginning, you have Barry and Iris waking up next to each other, and from right there, I'm feeling nervous. But then they get to Earth 2, and when it's like just Iris and Joe, and they're just sitting there reminiscing about their past, and really they're just playing the memory game, I could just feel their nerves as they're sitting there waiting for the inevitable, hoping that the inevitable never, ever happens. And then it happens. I mean, first off, the whole time they're sharing memories, I'm just wondering, okay, where's the lightning bolt? It's going to burst through here at any given moment. And then I really thought, when we went back to Earth 1, I thought it was Barry Allen that showed up in the lab. I mean, Savitar fooled me. So, of course, he fooled HR, and HR goes, yeah, she's on Earth 2. And that's how Savitar finds out, goes to Earth 2 and kidnaps her. But then the other thing is, before he kidnapped her, she took off her engagement ring and gave it to Joe. You don't do that. You know, in the future vision, you weren't wearing that engagement ring, Iris. Change whatever you can. You have to change whatever you can. Don't give the engagement ring to your dad. You keep wearing that thing. Change everything. My gosh. Seriously. I keep on wondering, why can't Barry just decide he's not going to make that time remnant? Why can't he just, in the present, make a conscious decision? You know what? I'm not going to create that time remnant. Wouldn't that decision be enough to alter the future? I don't know. Either way, I'm glad it's not, because this is incredibly intense. And then that moment where Barry is rushing to stop Iris, there's so much that's going through my head. First, I'm with HR and his completely feeling guilty, and I don't know if he's gonna leave. I don't know. I feel like he's about to run away, maybe go back to his Earth or run somewhere, but I feel like he's on the verge of running away because he's so ashamed of himself. And if I was in his position, I would be feeling the exact same kind of guilt that he's feeling. Like, I totally get that. And when HR was down, I was down with HR. But as Barry is running in slow-mo, and he's running towards Savitar, I was thinking, okay, HR had that one ominous look towards that piece of armor that was Savitar's. Is HR gonna pop up behind Savitar and stab him in the back? Because in the second vision of the future, HR was on the roof with the gun. But now, in the actual future, it's Joe up on the roof with the gun. So, like, I kept thinking, is HR going to show up? And then I lost it when, we go back to the phone message that Iris recorded where she's doing her wedding vows. I take thee, Bartholomew, to be my lawfully wedded husband. It's like, oh, she's going to die. And even right up to the last second, I was hoping something was going to change. And nope, she died. My question is she really dead? I don't know. I'm trying to come up with theories. I'm racking my brain for theories as to what could be going on, or theories as to how they could be fooling Savitar and be one step ahead of him, but I cannot figure out a theory. I think she's dead. Is the actress leaving the show? Are they going to find some creative way to bring her back? I hope so. I mean, for Barry's sake, I hope so. Like, this whole last season, I kind of ended up liking her. Like I said earlier, enough has changed that you feel like something different's going to happen. Like, he actually knows who Savitar is. Killer Frost hasn't killed anyone yet. So will Cisco lose his hands? I hope not. Is Iris dead? I hope not. But enough has changed and enough has remained the same that when we get into the season finale, I sincerely have no idea what to expect. And that excites me, and that is one of the reasons that The Flash remains one of my favorite CW superhero shows. What do you think of this episode of The Flash? Are you excited for the finale? Are you excited for the finale? Let me know in the comments while you're there. Hit the subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button is that bell. Click that bell, then you're notified the moment I drop new videos, like later today. Yeah, it's later today. Be dropping my video of my top 5 favorite Superman movies of all time. This weekend, dropping my analysis on Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, getting all excited for the release of the new Pirates of the Caribbean, and there's so much more coming out. Check out my other videos. Like and share this video. I'm Durbin. Thank you for checking out Durbania.